Here we go, gang, back with another box of books that I have been given to grade for sale on eBay. As always, I have absolutely no idea what is in this box. It could be almost anything. So, if you like comic books, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghala. My name is Duke, and this is another unboxing video. As always, I have been given a box of books to grade for sale on eBay. The seller name is .com Comics, and as always, I'm not the one who sorts these books into the different sales channels, so I have no idea what is in any particular box that I have been given to grade. The only thing I know is kind of the rough parameters. I'm pretty certain that most everything in this box is something that we would expect to sell for at least $10 on eBay as a single book lot. And of course, you know, a $10 book on eBay is like what, a $20 book at retail, you know, given that most people will account for the shipping cost into what they are willing to bid on eBay. So these should be, although the top of this box, you know, if you look at these bags and boards, they look like maybe newer comics. There should be nothing in this box that's just junk. It should be all stuff that's fairly interesting to look at. So I hope you will enjoy that. Please do like, share, subscribe, do all of the groovy things. I am running a little bit of a promotion right now. Not really a commercial, but trying to build up the follower base. I want to get to my first tier is 247. That's the magic number for Legion fans like me. So when I get to 247 subscribers, I will draw names out of a hat and give away this Silver Age Smallville PVC set that you're looking at right here. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment down below. And yes, of course, if you are already a subscriber, you're halfway there. All you have to do is just leave a comment. Every comment between now and whenever I hit 247, I will enter those into the magic pool and draw a name and give away this PVC set. So with that said, let us not waste any time. I think today's box we'll have Chameleon Boy here to kind of oversee the festivities. And let's take a look. Let me grab the first stack out of this box. And yeah, we've got some fairly kind of common stuff here, as I thought by looking at the edge, kind of newer stuff. Let me move Chameleon Boy over to the side here so we can get a better look. So that is Uncanny X-Men 244. That is the first appearance of a Jubilee. I've always thought this is an awful, awful cover, but that's just me. Silver Surfer 44. I believe that's just the Thanos appearance. And of course, Drax the Destroyer here. That's what makes that book kind of hot. This is a classic. I remember buying this book off the stands when I was a kid, and that would be the newsstands, because comic book stores really didn't exist then. They did exist in some parts of the country, but in central Maine, where I was from, we didn't have any comic book stores at this time. So this is the classic Demon in a Bottle story, the big one with Tony's alcoholism. And so that's a big book. Iron Man 281, I believe this is the first appearance of the War Machine armor. It's a cameo in this issue, and then makes its first full appearance in the, well, I wondered if that would be the next book in the stack, but in the next issue. Amazing Spider-Man 344. I don't actually know what makes this book hot. Frankly, I wasn't reading Spider-Man at this time, and I get this book in these boxes a lot. I guess I should probably look up and see what's special about it. I'll leave a note on the screen to let you know. This one is just a Punisher appearance, so that makes it a hot book. And Amazing Spider-Man, I've mentioned this before, but I guess it bears repeating. We have found that Amazing Spider-Man up through about issue 212, any issue in the series is worth selling at a single. Below issue 101, they're worth selling in almost any condition as a single. And then from, 101 to about 212, it sort of depends on the condition. You might want to put some lower grade stuff into lots. But from, 212 onward, it's about from that point that putting books in a lot becomes the default, with just a few books picked out that are key singles. But anyway, this one definitely falls within the sell it as a single range, as does this one. And this here, this is, 35 center. That's right in my golden age. That's when I was, probably 9 or 10, 11 years old. And I was reading Spider-Man, one of my favorite books at this time. 179, some more Green Goblin action. 178, looks like we've got a little run of Spider-Mans here. 177. 176. Here's another Punisher with Marvel's version of Hitman. 162 of Amazing Spider-Man. Now, this particular book, you always want to, when you have a book, you want to count the pages. Make sure all the pages are there. You don't want to sell a book to somebody, and then have them come back to you with, hey, the centerfold's missing. And if you've handled enough comic books, you can sort of tell by the feel if it's missing a page or even a whole centerfold. But this particular book, the reason I bring this up, so there's something about this book that it feels thin, and I don't know if this particular issue got a different paper quality or something like that. But this book always feels thin to me and always has all of its pages. But anyway, if you pick up a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 162 and it feels thin to you, odds are when you go to count those pages, they're all going to be there. Here's 161. And this one, this is an early Nightcrawler appearance. I'm not sure if it's the first appearance outside of the actual core X-Men book, but it's right up there. This one, 148, this was actually my first Spider-Man comic as a kid. And I think what appealed to me was just this cover with Spider-Man being thrown off and all chained up, and the horror of looking at this book as a kid and thinking, oh my God, what is Spider-Man going to do? How could he possibly get out of that? I have to pick up this book and find out. And of course, once the book's in your hands, you're about 80% of the way to the sale. So anyway, this is the second appearance of the tarantula with the spikes in his boots, where if he was more like a real tarantula, it would be coming out his butt. But then same with Spider-Man, even in the movie where he had the organic web shooters that those should have been coming not out of his wrists, but out of this area. Okay. Here's the start of the Clone Saga, 144. That is Gwen/not Gwen. Spoiler. Hope I'm not ruining that for you. Cyclone. You don't see much of Cyclone these days. Here's 137, more Green Goblin action. 136. 97. Oh, do we have 98? No. Or 96? No. This is part of the three-part series, 96, 97, and 98. It was a drug story, an anti-drug story that Stan Lee wrote at the behest of the U.S. government. But it got rejected by the Comics Code Authority, and Stan went to Marvel publisher Martin Goodman and said, hey, Comics Code Authority says I can't publish this book, but the U.S. government says I should. What should I do? And the decision was made to just go ahead and publish the books without the CCA seal, which was a huge, huge, huge deal at the time. So this book is 50 years old. This book was released in early March. Early March 1971. So that's a 50-year-old book right there. Here is issue 95, Spidey Fights in London. Here is the direct sales version, the Friends and Family edition of the Amazing Spider-Man Annual, the wedding issue. And here is the newsstand version, the Heroes. And that's, probably because, the casual buyer was on the newsstand. They would have a chance of knowing who all these characters were, but the casual reader might not know. If they knew J. Jonah Jameson and Aunt May, they probably wouldn't know who any of these other people are, even Harry Osborn. All right, well, that's the first stack. Let's keep on moving. We'll keep on trucking. I wonder if I should do this video in two parts, how long this will take. I'm getting kind of chatty. Spawn, I've told you before, we've got a Spawn in every box I open. And, but, it's a solid seller. That's a $15, $20 book every time, depending on the grade. Might be, a $12 book, but, You know, right up there. Web of Spider-Man, we see that a lot. Here's some more Spider-Man. I think this whole book, well, no, I was going to say this whole book might be Spider-Man, but there's an X Factor. This book, can you see it? So what happened, at some point, either we got it that way, or it got that way in being shipped to us, the collection, when we bought it. Hopefully not from storage in our warehouse once we got it, but that's a book that didn't have enough comics in the box, and so even with a backing board, it got bent. Usually that'll be okay as long as it doesn't, crimp the spine. Once it crimps the spine, you really can't even press it out. I mean, you can make it flat, but you'll still have the damage. Anyway, that's the first appearance of Archangel. Now we're into some Silver Age stuff. Here's Thor 141, kind of a clip art cover. Ooh, Iron Man number 4. That's cool. Unicorn. Oh, neat. Well, it's number 2, and it's not in very good condition, but this is Psychoanalysis. So EC Comics, once they were kind of forced out of their core business by the Comics Code Authority, which we've mentioned, these books came out. These are what, 1954, 55, right after the code came into being. Yeah, this is May, June 1955. Oh, I didn't notice it's missing a big chunk. Anyway, after the code came into being, that kind of put a nail in the coffin for EC's core books. It's, Crypt of Horror and all that kind of stuff. And so the publisher, Bill Gaines, tried this what he called New Direction books, which were supposed to be more artsy, more adult, contemporary, dramatic fiction, and nobody cared. Of course, also his distribution, he said, I've seen interviews where he said, the distribution, even with the seal, we were just, branded by the Kiehofer hearings, the Senate hearings into juvenile delinquency. We got such a scarlet letter, The scarlet letter no longer was A, it was EC, and we just couldn't move anything. So that's when he made the decision to just go with Mad Magazine as a magazine, converting it from a comic book into a magazine and just bypassing the code altogether. But anyway, that's a neat kind of historical book. Wolverine Number One, Volume 2, Number 1. For this one, it sells. We had a recent sale of this book of like $20, $25, something like that. And it's the Red Omega or Red somebody first appearance. Somebody, I have no idea who it is. But anyway, it's a much hotter book than you might think. You probably have some of these in your dollar boxes at your local comic book store, quite possibly. It's worth looking for. You could get that and flip it pretty easily. You probably won't do well trying to flip it from us because, we put this up as a single. Again, it's going to go 15, 20, 25 bucks. No, when I say it's a hot book, it sells well anyway. I don't notice that it gets like, tens and hundreds of bids, per book that we put up, but it certainly goes well. Oh, look at this. Milk and Cheese, Number 1. Which printing is this, do you think? Milk and Cheese had about 147 printings. So this is one way to avoid futzing with the tape and sticking to the back of the book and having to fold it back and stick the tape to the front of the book. Just cut it, man. If you reuse that bag, you can use a new piece of tape. Just cut it, and then you don't have to worry about it. So let's see what printing this is. Doesn't say anything, so is that a first printing? I'll have to look up and see if, because sometimes you get these books and they won't say whether it's a second or third or fourth print, but there are other ways to determine it, such as the cover price or a different cover or something. So this could be a first printing. I'll have to look up. I'll leave a note on the screen to let you know if it was or not. I don't actually know my Milk and Cheese well enough to know right off the top of my head what marks a first printing from any of the many, many subsequent reprintings. But anyway, that's a possible first printing. Here's Milk and Cheese's other Number 1. I'll have to check the printing on that. Avengers 257, first appearance of Nebula. X-Men 19, so right from the Copper Age straight into the Silver Age. That is the first appearance of Mimic, who briefly joined the X-Men. This is a pretty awful cover. I don't know how this cover ever got by, but that is probably the single worst drawing of Cyclops I've ever seen. Wolverine number 1, and this one is the newsstand version, although it's in pretty ratty shape. Here's a number 1 that's in better shape, and so being a newsstand version, this should bring a premium over. Here we go. Here's a direct sales version of number 2. And so here's a better example. Here's a newsstand version of number 2. So all things being equal grade, we would expect the Wolverine number 2 to sell for a higher price than the direct sales version. So keep an eye. Usually it's a week or two after I grade these books and get the video up that they end up posted on our eBay page. And again, the seller name is .com Comics. But you keep an eye on these and you see which, whether you bid on them or not, see for yourself how they close. And I would predict this one would sell for maybe $5, even $10 more than this one. So it's not a huge difference at this point. It gets to be a wider gap as you get later into the era where the direct sales is kind of taking over and actually selling more than the newsstand. And some of the later newsstand books are pretty rare, especially in high grade, and will sell for quite a bit more. This is kind of interesting. Someone says it's a near mint book, and I'll be the judge of that. But when it went in this bag, at least, it was only worth $3.50. This will probably go for $23.50, maybe even $33.50. We'll see. Number 3, looking okay. Got some. Well, I can't tell if it's a bag or the book somewhere there, but not too many ticks. That book is hard to get in high grade. And so this next book is probably 4. There it is, right there, number 4. Back into the Silver Age with some Thor, 131. It's a nice cover. Ooh, look at that. I like Hellcat. Hellcat was, I was a fan of the Defenders back when I was a kid, right around issue, 40 to 70 or so. And Hellcat was a core member of the Defenders at that time. And so I've always been a big fan of Hellcat. This is her first appearance. Not the first appearance of Patsy Walker, of course. She predates everybody on this cover except Captain America. Patsy Walker came along in, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s. But this is where Patsy Walker gets the cat costume. And there was another character, Greer Garson, I think her name was, who was originally in that costume, had a 4-issue series. Didn't sell that well, I guess, and so it got canceled. And that character eventually became Tigra. And Hellcat, Patsy Walker got the Hellcat costume. And so there you go. That's the story on that. Dr. Doom. Look at that, $4. This is going to go for a lot more than $4. That looks in fairly nice shape. That could be a 5.5, maybe. So that's going to go for a lot more than $4. Avengers number 25. Firestorm number 1 from 1978. First appearance of Firestorm. Ooh, Avengers number 15. The Avengers versus everybody. There's Baron Zemo, Enchantress, Black Knight. I forget these two guys. All right, next deck. What do we got here? Some more Avengers. Number 36, the Ultroids. 37. 38 with Hercules. Hercules. 100 cents. Oh, I see why. It's got some water damage. So that's why was a dollar book. 42. 45 with the Super Adaptoid. 46. Agony and the Anthill. Dun, dun, dun. 54. Little Black Knight action. Number 64. 75, Quicksilver. At last they're back. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. This would be kind of a good book to, if you have a comic book store, to put on your wall. Right now with the WandaVision series being so hot, you might be able to sell that book off the wall. 82 with Daredevil. 94. I thought, is this part of the Kree-Skrull War? All right, next deck. Giant Size Werewolf Number 3. These giant size books are hard to get in high grade because the spines are often crushed. And a lot of times they actually came off the press that way, but still it makes them rather unsightly. This one's actually kind of bent, which, it was hard to read these books because, again, the square binding, it was hard to open them all the way. What's going on here? Well, there's another reason, because see, the insides were stapled and then the cover was glued on, and you can see this doesn't open all the way. So that means the staple was kind of offset, and here you can see it's actually detached. Those pages are detached from the staple, or it looks like the staple just didn't go through all the pages because there's no staple hole there. Huh. So anyway, it's hard to get one of these books in really high grade just because it was kind of hard for Marvel to print them properly. And I think these books, this would have been the era when the books were printed at the Sparta World Color Press, which was in, where was it? Indiana? Illinois? I don't know. You tell me. Some giant-sized Dracula. Ooh, look at that. Strange Tales starring Brother Voodoo, who was a D-list nobody-nothing character for decades, but in recent years he's made kind of a resurgence, and this book has taken off. This one's got a spine roll. It's not going to sell for super high dollar, but still, if you happen to have this book, you might not even realize you have it. It might be something you got in a pile of books years and years ago. Maybe you bought a lot of books or something and didn't think anything of it then. But if you've got this book and it's in decent grade, that goes for, really kind of high dollar now. Tomb of Dracula 13 with Blade. I'm not sure if that's not the first Blade cover. I think he did appear on his first appearance on the cover, which I think was number 10. Here's some Green Lantern from the classic Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams era. It's number 88. Action Comics number 1. Oh no! This is obviously a reprint. And this particular format was reprinted many times, so you want to check a price guide or something, whether it's an Overstreet or a comicbookrealm.com or something like that. Make sure you know which version you have, because there is some price disparity between them. You can tell often by the price sticker, whether there's any price or what the price is, or what's going on down here in this box, if anything. Here they've cut away the guy who's supposed to be running into the foreground. That's interesting. They cut him right out in order to make room for this UPC box, which they then didn't use. So anyway, this is a very thin reprinting of just the Superman story from Action Comics number 1. If I recall correctly, there might be some additional stuff, maybe the 4-page origin sequence that was in Superman number 1. But it's a pretty nice shape. That'll go for $10. Hey, we just saw this book, Deja Vu. Here's some more Spider-Man, 110. The Gibbon, 108. 96, there's part 1 of the drug issue. See, no UPC code. If I had a 98, I would sell 96, 97, and 98 as a... I just noticed somebody had a $40 price on this. I don't think that'll go for $40. The condition isn't really high enough. Might get near it. But anyway, if I had 96, 97, and 98, given that it's the 50th anniversary of those books, I'd probably try grouping them and selling them as a lot, as opposed to singles. Just for shits and giggles. Here's 146. Oh, there's 98. So there we go. We've got 96, 97, and 98. So I will try and sell those as a lot. 102, second appearance of Morbius's ass. Oh, wow, Spectacular Spider-Man number 1. This was a grail for me. I finally got this book a few years ago. I came in at around issue 7 or 8 as a kid on Spectacular Spider-Man. Maybe a little later, 10 or 11. I can't remember exactly. But I always wanted number 1. I finally got it a few years ago. But there you go. First appearance of Spectacular Spider-Man number 1. Well, of course it's the first appearance of number 1. That was dumb. You might see a jump cut there. I'll cut that out. That was pretty stupid. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 1. Yeah, it's not really high grade, but that'll do okay. Somebody wrote paid $3.50 on it. That's funny. And they wanted $80 for it. So, Here is number 94. So somebody paid $10, wanted $30 for it. Although Heart of Ohio Antique Center was willing to let it go for just $20. That's funny. We buy collections from all over, and it's just interesting. Sometimes it's on the bag. Sometimes the board itself is actually printed with the name of the store where it came from. And I always wonder. I'm too lazy to look it up, to Google it on eBay, but I wonder if Heart of Ohio Antique Center, if that's even still around, if it still exists. Here's number 93, some Prowler action. 92, When Iceman Attacks. 84, Kingpin Strikes Back. 97. Oh, wait, I guess I had two 98s. Well, anyway, I definitely have 96, 97, and 98 all together now. So I'm definitely gonna put those together as a lot. And giant size Spider-Man and the Punisher. Interesting. All right. We're getting down to the bottom of the box. Here's some Captain Marvel with Avengers and Thanos. Number 28. Warlock. Oh, wow. Huh. I was going to say, this is number 9, which is the beginning of this run of Jim Starlin issues. Warlock ran 8 issues, was canceled, and then a few years later was revived. But as soon as I saw that 9, I saw this 9. So 9 pence. This is a UK, United Kingdom issue. This was sold in England, Scotland, Wales. What about Ireland? Does Ireland use the pence and pounds system? I don't know. If you live in Ireland or you're more familiar, let me know. But anyway, that's a UK book, which is virtually identical in every way to the US version, except it's printed with the price there. And it used to be some early Silver Age books we've seen come in with stamps on them with the British price. They had the regular, they just shipped over the regular US books and they were stamped there. But at some point, Marvel actually began, well, DC2 and other companies, I presume, began actually sending versions with the correct price for the local governmental authority, the correct monetary system right there on the cover. But otherwise, everything, even the ads, is the same. Still, it's neat to know that's a different version. That's one that came from the UK. And in theory, at least, the UK versions are a lot less plentiful, just by virtue of the United Kingdom being smaller than the United States. So it's kind of like collecting, newsstand versions of direct sales books. There are people who collect, even in America, collect the UK versions of these books. Here's another UK of Warlock number 10 and number 11. I wonder how many UK books we have here. Ooh, price went up from 9 pence to 10 pence. And that's probably right around where the books went from 35 to 40 cents. Or, I don't know what the original price was. Maybe it was from 25 to 30 cents. 10 pence, Warlock number 14. Number 15, UK version. Strange Tales 181. And that's a UK version. And one of these is the first appearance of Gamora. I forget what issue she first appeared in, but I think it's right around here. So that would be a big dollar book. I'll have to check and see what issue number. Wow. Wow. So in a recent video, a recent grading video, you saw me grade a copy of X-Men number 100. And it was a lower grade. It was like a 3.5. And it went for, I forget the exact price, but it was like 120 bucks, something like that. And so this is a much nicer conditioned book. And it's a United Kingdom book. So it'll be real interesting to see what that goes for. Does it go for much more than $120, and how much more? Well, now we're back to US books. X-Men number 87. Oh, nope. We've got an older UK book. 7 pence for X-Men number 89. Number 90, that's a UK edition. Number 93 with Quicksilver. He never looked right in green to me. He looks better in blue. Which Quicksilver do you prefer, blue or green? I think on WandaVision he was green. There's 8 pence. Wow. Number 96. So that's the that would be the 3rd appearance of the new X-Men. No. 4th appearance, because it was giant size, then issue 94, 95, 96. So this would be the 4th appearance of these characters, and 5th full appearance of Wolverine, and it's a UK version. I bet you that's going to go for over 100 bucks. 111. Now this was my first X-Men book as a kid, and it was this cover with a Barker, and that's actually Banshee speaking directly to me, that really struck me. And so I got this first book. And at first, of course, this is newsstand distribution in the early mid-70s. It was sometimes hard to get every issue of a book. You'd go to the newsstand, and even if you knew exactly what day to get there, somebody else might have got there before you, because a stand might only get 1 or 2 or 3 copies, and they would sell out. So I got 111, I think I missed 112, then I got 13 and 14, then I missed a couple issues, and it's probably around issue 125 or so before I began regularly, getting every single issue. But anyway, this was the first X-Men I ever bought as a kid. Although I didn't buy one in the United Kingdom. I was not in England at that time. I've never been, actually. Would like to go. Arcane and Spiderman in 123. That's a UK book. 126, classic Cockrum cover, also a UK book, 12 pence. 127, 12 pence. Wow, a lot of UK books in this box. 128, 12 pence. 124. This book struck me as a kid because it was like, Colossus was Russian, so of course he would turn evil. The dirty commie. Commies were a thing when I was a kid. 125. Direct K. Wow, here's an older, another older one. This one's only 6 pence. UK book. Number 83 with Spiderman. 6 pence UK book. Wow. All right, last few issues from this box. What do you want to bet they're all UK books? This top one is Tomb of Dracula number 13. We just saw the US version of this. What do you think? Do I dare make a 2-issue lot with the US and the UK version, or should I sell them each individually? Probably each individually. And probably what will happen is the person who does the listing will put them up both the same day, and we can compare them side by each to see how they go. This is interesting. So the first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man, his 3rd appearance overall. He first appeared in Avengers 181 as himself, a little cameo appearance. And then here's his first appearance as Ant-Man, and again, UK, right there. Whoops. Oh, I just noticed I was off the screen. I wonder how many of these I've been holding off the top of the camera and you haven't even been able to see them. Sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, that's a UK book. Number 48 is a UK book. This is Marvel Spotlight number 29. So this is the second solo outing for Moon Knight. Number 28 of Marvel Spotlight was his first solo appearance. And a pretty early appearance overall. He'd first appeared, I think, in just a couple issues of Werewolf by Night up to this point. But there is his second solo outing and a UK version, 10 pence. Oh, what do you think that's going to go for? The UK version of Howard the Duck number 1. That book was huge for a long time. Then it really kind of cooled off because there were just so many copies of Howard the Duck number 1 out there in the marketplace, and they were all like near mint. But I bet you there aren't as many with the 9 pence price tag on them. So it'll be interesting to see how that does. Wow, Inhumans number 1, UK version. There's the price tag. And we saw this issue earlier, the classic Iron Man Demon in a Bottle book. This one's actually in better condition than the US version we saw a few minutes ago. But this is the UK version, 12 pence. Marvel All Color Comics. Instead of saying Marvel Comics Group, it says Marvel All Color Comics. Probably because a lot of books were sold in the UK at that time were black and white. So that was an additional selling point, that they were in color. I think they've all said that up until now. I just haven't noticed it. Marvel All Color, Marvel All Color. And of course, leave it to the Brits to misspell color. And oh wow, so the Eternals is taken off. You couldn't give this damn book away for decades. Nobody cared about the Eternals. But you know, with the announcement of the movie coming up, this book's taken off, and we have sold this book for 50, 60, 70 bucks. So it'll be real interesting to see what the UK, the British version, goes for. Not super high grade, but that's probably a 7 anyway. 7, maybe 7.5. We'll know when I sit down to grade it. But anyway, well, I guess you had fun. There was some different stuff in there. A lot of common stuff, but a lot of really unique things as well. So I hope you enjoyed that video. We'll see you next time around. And until then, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.